Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Unplugged Live for our fourth show of the season, where we discuss art, music, all things creative. Coming up, we have our musical guest, but first we are talking to a local artist. Please welcome Kristin Headlam. You've done a lot of works set in the environment of your home. Can you tell us what appeals to you about such familiar subject matter as your house or your own backyard? Is it something that it doesn't bore you at all? You would like being in that space?
Well, I do like being in my space, and it's comfortable, but I also know it so well. So I can, again, it's somewhere I can go in my head. I can imagine things, and I can know if it's right or wrong, or, it's not something that if I take some photographs and go away and paint it, because I paint in quite a lot of detail, and they're quite big, some of them, so it's not the case of being able to lug a canvas out into the middle of the country and work in that way. I don't do impressions. It's something I'm much more interested in trying to get in underneath and understand and convey something about maybe it's the spiritual quality of it, something like that, what it means to me. And I feel I can only do that with somewhere I know.
You talk about things being right or wrong. Is there something about having subject matter in your house that you have a particular way to capture it perfectly, and you need the time and space to make sure you get it exactly right? Because I know you have scenes you've painted where you've painted it throughout the same scene, but throughout different time periods and seasons.
Well, I don't really want to be perfect. I don't want it to look like a photograph. I really don't, although I think a lot of people think my work does look fairly photographic. And I've worked from photographs a lot, but I've also worked from, just what they call look and put. So I look at something and I make some marks on the canvas, and then I look a bit more, and some of those paintings have been done over a month or 2 months. So, things change in that time, and they become a kind of average, but it's an average that I hope is sort of more real. More real than the real thing.
Is that common with you? I think a lot of people would be intrigued who aren't painters, and I'm not. Do you have a bunch of works on the go at one time? Has that been a thing for you? Is it always you have one specific vision you're trying to capture? Because that's interesting.
It's usually one or two basic, works, and they sit on the canvas and persecute me till they're done. Yeah.
We were talking about painting in photographic quality just then. I've got a question here. A lot of songwriters attempt to speak about culturally relevant issues and put their songs to a greater purpose than perhaps their own personal issues. This can be very hard to do in a sincere fashion. For the better part of a decade, your paintings were inspired by media photography, which you'd manipulate into your own work. I was wondering personally, was this a way of jumping straight into events of the moment? Was your desire to take your work right into the moment of the times?
Funnily enough, I think the way I was looking at those newspaper photographs was more in relation to art history. So I'd been looking at lots of paintings by Velázquez, for instance, or Watteau. He was an influence on me, and I wanted to, looking at newspaper photographs, I often thought how much they were like history paintings from the past, or not that Watteau is particularly a history painter, but I wanted to try and pick up something that could echo that and talk about the present in ways of the past or something like that. This is an unusual image for me because it is a photograph from the past, and so it doesn't quite fit into any of the other ones that I was doing. But
why did you choose this photograph in particular?
All the photos I chose were very arresting to me. I'd look at them, it'd be how they looked first before I read anything about them. And I saw this photo in the paper. It was probably at the time he died, I think, Alec Campbell, and I just looked at that little face and I thought, how did he do it? How did he get up and go all across the world and lie about his age, and what did he think? And it's sort of said in the paper that he didn't really know what he was going for. He just wanted the adventure. And I was thinking, he's such a child. I've probably made him look younger than he actually was, but not that much younger, I think. And he had such determination in that face. And it was the psychology of it, I think. You know, what was in his head? What sort of a little boy was he at that time? You know, because later he went on to say that he didn't. He became a pacifist and thought war was terrible, and he didn't really want to be thought of as this Gallipoli veteran. And you know, so he had all his big adventure in that time of his life. So it's sort of fascinating to me.
We're cruising through. It's great talking to you. What can we expect from you in the near future? Anything?
Well, at the moment I have taken another sharp turn in my work, and I'm working on a series of etchings. They're going to be based on my partner, Chris Wallace-Crabb's long poem called The Universe Looks Down. And it's a new way of kind of trying to travel in my head, while meanwhile staying at the same table, drawing and imagining a kind of...
You've drawn Chris before, haven't you?
I have drawn Chris before.
How does he feel about this? Does he enjoy this?
He's encouraging it. And he doesn't interfere at all.
It's been a privilege having you speak with us today. Thanks so much. I'm sorry to cut it short, but we have a small time frame. It's great talking to amazing local artists. We'll be back shortly with our musical guest in the next room, which will be Katy Steele. Everyone, Kristin Headlam. So thank you.
Thank you.